already having. If it's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's LinkedIn Live, Hour of Empower. I'm so honored and blessed to have two just wonderful guests today. Chat's open. We depend on you to direct us and make us as relevant and hopefully achieve a couple takeaways you can apply and get some real value for your time and attention. With that said, the word of the day is coaching. Uh, and Beverly Glazer is here. Dina
Mm.
Lefkowitz is here. Everybody knows Beverly. She's just a regular on Tuesday and continues to get better with time. And I had the pleasure of talking with Dina just a while ago and was so impressed with her background, but more importantly, her vision and direction that I thought, hey, this is going to be a quality pairing. So before chat comes in, uh, Beverly, oh no, why don't we have Dina? Dina, introduce yourself, your new first time, little bit of context, and what your initial thoughts on coaching, and I'll change the word.
Okay, thanks for introducing me. Hi, everybody. It's great to be here with Don and Beverly. My name is Dina Lefkowitz, and I'm a lawyer coach in Media, Pennsylvania. And I'm also an author. I have a book called Winning in Your Own Court, 10 Laws for a Successful Career Without Burning Out or Selling Out. And I would say that that title embodies my approach to coaching and to especially working with lawyers. How do you have a great career without burning out or selling out? And I tend to help people in three areas. Sometimes people want a complete transformation of their lives. They want to leave whatever they're doing and do something else. But a lot of times it's more subtle than that. They want to become a rainmaker. They want to bring business in. Or they're at their 8th or 9th year and nobody's talking to them about partner. What's going on? Or they want to make a great career transition and they don't know how to position themselves to do it. So those are the primary areas that I help people in with, and I love doing it. And on a personal note, coaching changed my life, and I'd love to have the opportunity to talk about that as well as what I do.
Well, sounds great. And, with that said, welcome, Dina. Now to Beverly. Catch us up on what's new and exciting with Beverly and your first thoughts on coaching.
I have many thoughts, Don, and they come zipping in as you go. Lots of thoughts on coaching. And first, I want to say it's great to meet you, Dina, and that I do believe that everyone needs a coach. And because if you want to keep going and you want to keep growing, how do you get there? We get stuck in our own heads. And there's always someone out there. There's always someone out there that can say, I can help you with that. And maybe I can help you with that. And perhaps the best person is not your immediate family or your friends and neighbors. Perhaps it's somebody that can see things from the outside, can show you the steps to get there, to make it easy. And that's why I transitioned into coaching. I transitioned into coaching because not everybody has to go through really heavy, deep, dark issues and get out of stuff.
Right.
But what you can do is put together simple steps to get out of it if you're not in that really heavy place. And so this is where I've designed and fostered and give it to other coaches to do it as well. It's called the reinvention formula, where you can reinvent yourself in easy steps. And that is what coaching is about. It's not about the pain. It's not about the shame. It's not about going through all that heavy stuff. You know your pain. We don't need to go there. We need to get you out of there. And so that's what coaching is. This is why I love what coaching is. And like you said, Donald, everybody out there can find a coach, whether it's in football, whether it's in hockey. I'm Canadian, eh? So I just said right? Canadians say that. And so whatever it is, there is a coach and you can find one. And we can get into how to find one a little later on too, because that's a whole other issue because everybody's a coach and the bar can be kind of low. But what you have to see is don't say stuck. You don't have to be in that stuck place. So this is why when we're talking coaching, that's a subject that is very close to my heart. I love it. And yeah, I see people are coming in. Leslie, hey, hi.
Leslie.
Yeah,
So
Leslie's
glad
the
that
best.
you're here. Yeah. So, yes.
Well, it's a great start to a great show. Leslie's just a phenomenal lady. Had the pleasure of 2, 3 months of Melissa Cohen and Leslie on Sundays. Hope to reconnect and get another schedule going for the fourth quarter. Ashif is here. Ashif's just a wonderful gentleman up there in Toronto, always here almost every day. Always brings
Hi,
some
Steve.
great quotes, insights. Had a great conversation with him and hope to have Ashif on the show. You
That would
know,
be great.
oh, for sure. And whenever he's ready, I'm ready. Renadab's here, another gentleman who's here every day from India. Actually, I'm going to be having a call with him half hour after the show is over. So great to see you. And that's the key to coaching is involvement. It's like, how many times, like as a kid, you could think of running around the bases and there was a coach at third base or first base, and they tell you to go home, or they be your eyes for you because their arm signals kind of tell you what you should be doing, not what you should be looking at. And I think everybody needs somebody in their corner, somebody who's, an advocate for them. And that's what I see a coach as being. Someone who can
Yes.
help you do things you couldn't have or wouldn't have without them. Somebody who you look up to and want to be like,
Yes.
And I think everybody can ratchet up together. And I think to Bev's point, which is so important, the quality is everything in the individual and the coach that you're with. Are you better for the time with them just for being with them, let alone whatever they bring to the table? Because,
That's a great question.
right?
Yeah.
Isn't that?
That's a great
Because,
question.
people
And
like elevator buttons. Some take you up, some take you down. Leslie comes back
yeah,
with great to see you. Rhonda's here. Everyone and every coach needs a coach to bounce ideas, set
yes.
priorities, keep you moving towards your success. So well put. Thank you, Rhonda. Glad to have you today. And that's really the key is what can we do collaboratively in the shortest amount of time to bring the most amount of value and benefit to everybody in the most accessible, convenient way. And that's why I think these types of discussions, these type of speakers, because you know what, it exemplifies the person. You're seeing how someone serves other people, responds in the moment to questions, and how comfortable and resourceful. And I think that's going to be huge. Uh, with that said, coming back to Dina, what's your initial thoughts so far?
I wanted to, I'm so thrilled to have someone with a therapy background here because so often people say, what's the difference between coaching and therapy? And I'd like to tell you what I say, Beverly, and then you can either correct me or tell me what you say or tell me that I'm doing a good job, which is what I love to hear most of the time. So I often say that therapy looks in the rearview mirror at what happened in your past, what makes you the way you are today, what went wrong in many instances. And coaching is a forward looking, you're looking through the windshield, not in the rear view mirror, because you're driving to a destination. And a coach is more likely to ask you a what question, what can you do to get around that obstacle, than a why question, why are you having this problem? So we're very directionally oriented toward achievement, and we have specific measurable goals that we're shooting for. So it's very different from therapy, where you might be looking to achieve a sense of calm or peace or rectify a past problem or something like that. So how did I do, Beverly?
You did pretty good, Dina. Really pretty good. Yeah, there are many different modalities in therapy, so not all of them go that deep. However, you're right in the sense that therapy can take a long time, whereas coaching has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So you know there's a directive, and that's what I like about coaching. You know the time frame, you know when you're going to start, you know what you're going to get out of it within 3 months, within 6 weeks. So you're moving right along. In therapy, we set a goal, and you're, you know, as a therapist, I always say, it's work for me. Okay. I'm digging it out. I'm getting it out. In coaching, guess what? You're doing the work. I'm behind you. Okay. And that's what's great about coaching too. With a coach, they're there for you. They're behind you. They're the support. You're not alone. You're not floundering. And that's what people love. It's like, I'm all alone with this problem. And here it's no, we can get you out of it. This is the way to do it. Step 1, step 2, in each week, we're going to move you past it. That's the strength. And guess what? I am here. If you slip up, so what? We'll make it work. Much like that kid on the baseball field. What went wrong here? I have your back. That's what I love so much about coaching. And I love therapy too, believe me. But, like I said, I'm doing the work here. You guys are doing the work when we're coaching. This is how to do it. You run with the ball, my friend. Then we get you out. That's the fun.
Well, I think the key element from the discussion so far is movement. Right? Either moving you away from where you don't want to be, moving you towards where you would prefer to be, and allowing the bridge to maybe take place, because it's not about absolutes. Some people only got 70% of what it takes to get there, and they need the other 30% through someone or something to bridge that gap to get them there. So it's really a temporary opportunity for the coach, but a permanent opportunity for the person who can take advantage of that, because you don't need the same coach for different things at different times of your life. Sometimes it can be a long-term relationship, but it just has to be mission-based, right? Exactly. I want to make 50% more money by this. Okay, well, here's a plan. Here's a program. Here's responsibility. Here's accountability. It isn't buy a ticket, wait for the number to be called, right? It's like, hey, I'm going to give you everything I have. That's only going to be what you can then leverage onto and bring even more value. So I think fairness, I think respect makes all the difference, because how do you feel after you're done coaching someone? Have they drained you of your energy?
Never.
No.
Well, and that's that. Go ahead, Dina.
Well, if I want to build on what you're saying about movement, because a lot of times people come to coaching in a state of overwhelm because they're here, they want to be here, and the idea of getting from there to there is so overwhelming. And what a coach can help do is put it into context, develop some steps and strategies to get there, and ask a question like, what's one thing you could do to take a step toward that thing that you want? And it becomes less overwhelming, and you have a partner to do it with, and you have somebody. Sometimes when I work with lawyers on marketing, they're so reluctant, afraid of making a mistake, that sometimes I help them write their emails. So whatever you're stuck with, it's important, and we work on it and we overcome it, and then you can take that next step.
Yeah.
So overwhelm is a really important thing. When people come to coaching, they often want to add more in. And I usually play the game of subtraction with clients first. What's draining your energy that we could get rid of? Are you spending hours on the phone every week with a relative where nothing changes and it's just the same recording over and over again? Things like that. Things that might be derailing you from your success, getting in the way. We identify them and we get rid of them at the beginning, or we minimize them so that we can clear the decks for the things that we want to have happen in coaching. And I'm getting some nods over there, so I must be doing pretty good on this one, right?
No, you're doing fabulous, Beverly.
Great. Yeah.
Thanks, Beverly.
Right on target. Right on target. You're there. You know, you're making it easy. And this is why I think it's so important for people to say, you know, you are not stuck. And to your point, Dina, in my case, therapists also, we're not supposed to promote ourselves. As a matter of fact, no one's supposed to know who we are. For me, this was huge. Okay. I had to get out of the office in my head and be on social media. Let's face it. Okay. Now, even now, in all the all the restrictions that we have, there are certain things we're not supposed to say, etc., etc.
Right.
This was one thing that I felt is extremely important. I'm human. We all have our ups and downs. This is who we are. And coaching lets you see that you are vulnerable, and so am I, so is everybody. And I have a coach too. And the coach I have is for marketing. The coach I have is for media. I'm not fearful of writing emails, but how do I write copy? I didn't know how to do that. So for me, I had to understand how to step up. I mean, for years, for 30 years, I was a therapist behind a shingle in a very safe place, which is my office. And now you have to say, hey, you know, the world is out there and there's social media. And like I told you, Dawn, I wasn't on LinkedIn. LinkedIn was for jobs. I had a job, thank goodness. Okay. And I'm in Canada. People come to me. You know, the healthcare system is somewhat different. So I knew nothing about marketing. And it's like, no, I don't want to know. We're elitists. You know, we don't talk about those things. And so you had to get out of that frame of reference. You had to stop that feeling of you're a professional, you don't market yourself. That's a Canadian perception. Right? It's totally different in the US. But a coach for everyone, you know, when I put out my post, who needs a coach? I believe everyone needs a coach. You know, if we're stuck in something, take a look. There's someone that can just have your back, be on your side, and help you get to where you want to be. I believe in that. So,
Well,
Dina, yes.
I think there's also a big quality of life question is, you know, how do you feel better about what you're about to do? How do you feel like you can continue to sustain what you're about to do? And it's usually through third-party validation or confirmation, you know, that someone says, hey, yeah, now I'm a bigger believer. Now I'm this, because it's confidence. You know, they say success is an attitude, you know, and once you acquire that attitude, everybody feels it. Everybody gets attracted to it. It's a magnet. But there's sometimes, like you say, Bev, some days you're up, some days you're down, and that's where the coach comes in, takes your mind off of let's go to work, let's do this. But I think the other valuable point, and then we'll address all these wonderful people in the audience, is having somebody you look forward to allow yourself to make the change, because you didn't have to always make the decision by yourself. And there's a lonely factor. You know, doing anything by yourself is a little scarier, very dependent on your strength and your ability to persevere. And why, you know, and I think Bev also makes a great point on core competency.
Yes.
If you're really good at something, give someone else the responsibility of doing what they're good with and allow you to do more what you like, what you're better at. So with that said, let me run down. Want to congratulate Dina, according to Leslie. Dina and I know each other since I became active on LinkedIn. She is awesome, and her posts inspire me always. It's just a
Yeah.
great collection of people that have kind of come together from all parts of the world and all types of philosophies. Rhonda says, everyone and every coach needs a coach to bounce ideas, set priorities, keep you moving towards your success. Dennis is
True.
here. Dennis is here about every day. Agreed, teamwork still works. Dennis says, coaching leads the way. If it doesn't work, reflect upon therapy. Chief
Yeah,
says,
true.
people often forget about choices at hand. Reaching out is the best first step. If you don't ask, you'll never know. I'm glad I'm here to hear and learn. So happy to have you. Leslie comes back with, what's one thing is such a powerful question. Outstanding point, Dina Lefkowitz. Uh, Petra's here. Petra's a wonderful lady. Good morning.
Yeah, hi, Petra.
People. Petra really gets prodigious when she gets going. Yes,
Oh,
you're a
yes.
heart and soul. Petra also says, that's what you are doing for me. Thank
Uh,
you. Ashif, your greatness is limited only by the investments you make in yourself. Grant Cardone. Kelly, who's everybody knows Kelly. She's been
oh,
the
yes. Hi, Kelly.
for 9 months every Thursday. Such a great person. Somebody, if you don't get to know him, you're missing something. Plus, Kelly has her show, The Awesome Journey, that takes place at 1:11 p.m. Eastern time today. So if you get a chance, visit Kelly and Christy Howard, and they've got a great guest today. Aranda, coaching can also offer a set of unbiased eyes to see where we may be missing opportunities. That is so true. We should come. I'll have Dina address that one. My Lynch syndrome, but I'm still working. Leslie acknowledges Kelly. Everybody loves Kelly. So Dina, what's your thoughts on Rhonda's quote or statement here?
Rhonda and you also, Don, made this point about having a third party. And a lot of times when people come to a first coaching call, like their first initial consultation where they're deciding whether or not they're going to hire me, they'll tell me what everyone else in their life says about what they're thinking about doing. And it's usually naysayers, people that think they're crazy for leaving their current job. How could you? It's so lucrative. What field is that you're thinking of? That doesn't sound lucrative to me, and those sorts of things. So having a neutral third party whose only agenda is your happiness and satisfaction is huge. The support, the relentless cheerleading, the challenging of long-held assumptions and biases, which is what Rhonda's bringing up, by asking challenging questions. Sometimes the question is very simple, like someone will say, well, I couldn't miss so-and-so's 15th birthday party. And I'll say, why not? Why not? Why can't you? Who says? We're all operating under these invisible rules that society and the work life wrote for us a long time ago, that people that we don't even know that lived hundreds of years ago decided that the day should be 9 to 5 and that the roles that we have should be what they are forever. And coaching challenges all of that. And I'll give you an example. I'm working with somebody who just lost her cat. Her cat was 18 years old and a huge part of her life. There is no place in society that gives you the space to grieve for a pet. It's not accepted. It's not supported. There's no leave for it. And yet it is one of the most profound losses that people experience. A companion who's with you 24/7 for 18 years. And so a coach can give you the support and the permission, if you need it, to feel your feels and to grieve and to do what you need to heal from whatever that is that's going on. So coaching steps in where society falls short in many instances, in my view.
Well, I think that really, really covers some wonderful, relatable uh, areas, because I think one of the aspects is to find the facet or nuance that has been undiscovered, right? Nobody really likes to be told what to do or what to change, because they're put in a position of either taking your advice or not taking your advice. And if they don't take your advice, then it's like, what am I paying you for? And you're thinking, what am I helping you if it doesn't work? And I found the best way to coach is to share what you did in that situation, right? Because then a person could be more outside of it. If if someone just lost $1,000 in the stock market, if you go in here, what you do wrong and what you do right, and what you should do next time, versus, hey, I lost $3,000 last year. This is how it worked out, you know. And somebody can learn from you or decide, no, I'm not going to accept that. But at least you didn't put me in a position of having to decide. And I think the other thing, a coach becomes all kinds of different uh, roles. Friend. Some people look at the coach as, hey, friend. Some people look at a taskmaster. I mean, there's coaches that you'd never have
Oh,
as
yeah.
a friend, but
Oh,
they
yeah.
sure work you out well, and they get the most out of you. And I think that's the key, is how important, how committed are you to do what it takes? Because it's a two-way street, and at a certain point, the coach is only the training wheels, right? At a certain point, they should detach, and you should be able to carry on. And if there's something from there now that becomes an issue or an opportunity, you can then say, okay, let's have another plan, and having one thing at a time. They say you can't manage what you can't measure, right?
Yeah.
Right. So if you don't have a time frame, if you don't have a result, no one knows how well they did, and people have to track to it. How are we? Everything is a one day at a time, one thing at a time, so it doesn't get overwhelming. We got some great comments, and I'll turn it back to Bev in a sec. Uh, Here's one from Leslie. If we only focus on the should do's, there's no room for what we want to do. And you want people
Very true.
to think of things on their own, to take what you said and create something even better for themselves and for you. Have a positive competition to see who can come up with more imaginative ideas, more creative things. And a lot of times it's how people respond to the past. Too many people carry legacy forward when it's, you can't unring a bell, you can't go back. You can't punish yourself twice for something that happened. And a coach would get your mind and say, hey, listen, where is this going? Fast forward. What can one gain from this? Here's a point about the loss of a pet reminds me of something. Someone close to me works for an organization that provides bereavement benefits for family members, and that includes pets. Well, that's an interesting, valuable thought, maybe opportunity. As she says, change is inevitable, but transformation is by conscious choice. So true.
Yeah, that's true.
Patrick comes back with, I agree with you, having a third person is so important. Grieving is a big part of my life right now. But believe it or not, listening, another person hearing me, counting down my days. So true. Bev, what's your thoughts?
Oh, there are so many, Dawn. I'm going to go back. First of all, yeah, Petra, you're right. I just want to piggyback on that a bit. When someone is there for you, or when people are worse off and you're helping, that can give you strength too. And this is also what coaching is about. There is always somebody there for you. And you may be, as a coach, their highlight of the week because they're just so busy in their own lives. Or even if or you would think that they're not busy because, oh, I'm alone and I just have my dog, as you were saying, Dina, that dog is your best friend. That dog is precious to you. And you can have these emotional attachments in so many levels. And then what happens? And this is where I, as a coach, come in. What's next? It's you're following a path that was created from you. Sometimes in your family, it's your family of origin that's created that path. You're going to be going to school. You're going to be going to that university. You're going to graduate. You may even be marrying that person. So you're living in someone else's life. And then what happens is something happens. And it's that eureka, that wake up call. And it's, who am I? And where is your purpose? And that is the kind of coaching that I do. It's after you've experienced whatever it is. You could be in the middle of your job and then all of a sudden you're fired for no reason other than they downsized. Or, you could be living your life and then all of a sudden, boom, there's a death and it has hit you so hard. And it's hard not only because it's a death, what is hard is it's destroyed your life. And then where is it? What do I do next? So it's the next step. And that's what coaching is. The next step for you on the journey, because you have a journey. It sounds very spiritual, but it's really true. And so when you're overwhelmed, a coach can provide those steps, but they can't provide it unless you say, yeah, you're the one that takes the lead. And then we go into who you really are, your essence. And that's when you become alive. You're not living just a life for someone else, for your children, for your husband, for your parents anymore, for whatever. Who am I in this picture? That's what coaching is. It's, I can be better. How? Just show me the way. That's the key.
And the same thing is true if you're working in a law firm. Take it out of a family situation and put yourself
Yeah.
in a corporate department or a law firm, and all
Yeah.
those same things are true.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and
Exactly.
I think there's like any word, there's context, there's application, there's packaging, presentation, and there's informal coaching you do all the time,
Yeah.
or independent coaching you do without permission. Like I spend almost all my time that I can coaching my grandkids.
Aw, that's
I
great.
No, really, because and here's something I'll tell you, and I'm going to have my grandson on as soon as
uh,
he has watched every one of these shows for the last 3 weeks every day, and he does it after school. Now that he's back at school, and he loves the stories. Some of the people's stories he
I see.
feels really sad and relate to, but just
Oh,
imagine a 10-year-old kid who decides after going to school all day, he's going to watch an hour show with these adults. And I gave him the link, so I said, anytime you want to jump on. But what I'm trying to say is, what are you coaching? Coaching attitude, confidence, little
yeah.
by little. So you have license little by little with the people around you. When you go to the grocery store and you say something nice to the checkout person,
Yes.
right? You've just coached them. You've just given them some positive feedback, another view of who they are to other people, because people aren't meant to work in a vacuum. People aren't meant to have tunnel vision. People are meant to say, I need a coach just to tell me what kind of coach I need, right? Because some people are just so overwhelmed, like you say, or they get hit with life that they never planned or were
Oh,
prepared
yeah.
for something to happen this fast to them. But one thing one should always ask themselves, in whatever they gave up, transitioned from, how happy were you at the end, right? When the company decided they didn't want you anymore, how much are you going to miss that company? Or is it the paycheck? Or is it the benefits and the ego and the benefits there? And if you're really miserable there, this is an opportunity. Sometimes things push you off that you wouldn't fall off of. And we talked about that, about being in the middle, and someone just needs someone to take
For sure.
something. And I think the other thing before turning over to Dina is meet people where they're at.
Mhm.
I think when you're coaching somebody, you got to work with what you have, where you have it, and who you have with you, right? And too many people say, jump up and come to where I'm at,
Yeah.
versus reaching down and saying, hey, we can do this. And I think the we, and we talk about this here all the time, is if you can't do it, could we do it? And in many cases, that extra hand, that extra little word, I can't tell you how many times every week I get an email from someone who says, if it wasn't for this or that person, it made a big difference, right?
Yeah.
And that makes you feel like you have purpose, right?
Yeah.
When you go visit somebody and you say, I may be able to do something really incredible here, because it'll ripple forever. It affects everybody's circle of influence. And the question is not how fast can you get up, but how fast can you not be down, right? So stabilize is important. Start with breathing. That is the first thing when you're in trouble. Just relate to breathing and then go to eating and resting and then worry about the intellectual things. So with that, Dina, what's your new thoughts?
I thought it might be helpful to talk about what does a coaching conversation look like and how is it different from a regular conversation? And you should be able to tell, because I can tell you when I go into coaching mode, my husband can tell right away. And he'll usually say, don't coach me, which no one should ever do without permission. So how is a coaching conversation different? Well, for one thing, it's your agenda. We're not waiting for you to stop talking so we can tell you about our lives and what we're up to and what we're thinking about. We're actively listening to what you're saying. We're looking for themes. We're looking for what's under what you're saying. We're listening to your tone of voice. We're watching your expressions, and we're trying to help you get at that thing that you want. So a coaching conversation should have a kind of a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it should have an outcome. You should walk away from that coaching conversation with something to do or somehow to be. Not every goal is a doing goal. Sometimes it's a being goal. I'd like to be more calm around my parents, that kind of thing. So you should always come away from it with an outcome, with something to do, and with things that you're going to be telling your coach about the next time, action items.
Yeah.
And a few other things that are different about being with a coach are the powerful, challenging questions that we're going to ask you, which we have permission to do because you signed up to be our client. So in some instances, it might be rude to ask some of the questions I ask. I know I wouldn't ask strangers some of the questions I ask clients, but they've given me permission to do it, and they need those questions to help move them. As you said, Donald, it's all about movement.
Exactly, Bev. That's a wonderful thing Dina brought up.
Yeah, and yes, exactly, Dina. A coach, as we were saying all along, moves you farther. And the only way to be moving farther is through that action step. And that's the scary part.
Yes.
We all know what we have to do, don't we? All of us.
Yeah.
Why don't we do it? Why? Because it's that action step, that scary little thing that just stops us. So what a coach does and what coaching does is we break up those parts into doable little goals. And as you start increasing your confidence, your awareness, your strength, it becomes you. And I've had clients said umpteen times, I have Bev in my head.
Yeah, me too.
I say, no, Bev is not in your head. That's you talking, And when you know and feel that you're capable, you do it. So that's the thing. Those are the steps. Coaching will lead you to where you want to go.
Yeah.
It's not where we're pushing you. Never is.
There was something else that you said, Don, about what kind of coach do I need? Do I need a coach to help me figure out what kind of coach I need?
Yeah, that's funny.
And I think sometimes the niches that we pick can be a little misleading. Like I'm a lawyer coach and Bev specializes in women of a certain age. I've also heard mindset coach, money coach, but really every coaching process should be the same, regardless of whether your goal is to make more money or accomplish something. Every coach should be a mindset coach. Mindset's what coaching is all about. So in a way, it kind of cracks me up that people call themselves mindset coaches, because we all are. That's part of the job of a coach.
Well, I think that
True.
that's what's so interesting is you can bring awareness early to the table at the beginning of a session and say, how do you feel right now? What are you thinking right now? And at the end of the session, you can say how you're feeling right now to when we started, right?
Yeah.
And you can learn, did I do something during the session valuable that will now maybe catapult this person to even a better week? And you know, I think the key is the confidence in knowing this will get done.
Right.
Now, how long it takes, what you have to go through, maybe sometimes you
Yeah.
got to take a step back to take a step forward. Maybe sometimes you got to sit still. It's like climbing a mountain. It's not a straight line, right? But it's like when people can't wait to see you, you know you're doing something right. And I think the best thing you can do
Yeah.
is turn a mirror around on the person, right? And just have them hear what they just said. Did you just realize what you just said? And it could be a
Yes.
breakthrough, or it could be, why would you say something like that? You know,
Yes.
and I think Dina makes some valuable insights into questions, and just a question of why. Can you explain that a little bit further? You know, and after a while, someone realizes I didn't really mean it that way, but I've been talking that way forever, that I'm doing it without even consciously knowing it. And the key really is taking inventory, what is working, what isn't working, what used to work that doesn't work as well. You know, they say you're the factor of the 5 people you spend the most time with, or most of the activities you do. Well, disassociation can be just as powerful, because too many people feel they have to deal in absolutes. I got to quit my job. I got to end my relationship. It's like, well, what part of the job is the thing that's
Right.
making you want to quit? What part of the relationship? And the element is, have you brought this up? Are
Right.
you being proactive about sharing how you feel to the people who make you feel what you feel? And most of the time, they're not aware. And if someone said, please don't leave the ketchup out anymore, and makes a big deal about it, to somebody's like, I didn't even know, fine. You know, what I learned about being married for 45 years is every yes will get you another yes down the road, and every no will get you another no down the road.
That's great.
You know, well, it's true, because, and then I realized I've got something to say about everything, but 98% of the stuff doesn't matter to me. If it matters so much more to someone else, right? And early on when I got married, my wife would say, well, which dress do you like better on me? And I'd say, well, I like the blue one. Well, I really like the red one better. I think I'm going to wear it. I'm saying, why did you
That's
ask?
right. That's right.
Or why don't you just tell me which one I'm supposed to pick, you know? And then, but I think that's the thing, is showing kindness. There's a saying, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care, right?
That's
And
good.
showing,
That's beautiful.
right? And showing is so much better than telling,
Yeah.
because anybody can talk. But, you know, when you're actually doing it on a regular basis, and when you're going out of your way for somebody, it's in their own best interest to go out of their way for you, so you can keep that thing going.
Right.
And I think that's coaching, or any, let's say, codependent relationship, right? Are they really thinking about you when they're not with you?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Are they doing things that you would like them to do without having to tell them all the time? You know? And then you feel either obligated or guilty and say, I gotta take care of this somehow, right? To keep this going. We're having a good thing, you know? And why not be as happy as you can for as long as you can with the people that you can? And I think that's important. And it's just making people aware of gratitude. How many
Mm.
people come to you and they say, "Oh, I'm unhappy about this." It's like, geez, if I had half of what you had, I mean, you have all this and you want to make more money, or you just lost some money, but you got so much, but that's what you're focused. I mean, and that's where you have to decide as a coach, this could not be positive for me. Sometimes you can take somebody out of a ditch and find yourself right back in it based on the energy exchange,
Hmm.
based on I can't relate to this person in any way, and at that point you're trading time for money, and then you're just for hire, right? At a certain point, and you got to ask yourself, who needs a coach in this situation? And that's But that's the beauty of it, because it is something that can be changed in a minute. And I think just
Yeah,
awareness, say, hey, I'm in over my head here.
yeah,
I need to talk to a doctor. I need to talk to a lawyer. I got to talk to I mean, this is, like Bev says, out of clear blue sky. I need some help here. But knowing that you need it, knowing
yeah,
that it's available,
yeah,
says, hey, I don't got to lose my mind, because I'm not going to take care of all this myself, right?
yeah,
Dina,
yeah.
you have such a great laugh for me and Beverly.
Well, you're both a riot, so I'm having a great time. And I wanted to say something about your example about how people go to extremes. I got to quit my job. I got to leave my wife, and sometimes there's a middle option. When I work with people on career change, we usually work on two tracks. One is let's work on the career change, figuring out what you want to do. But the other track is let's make things as good as they can possibly be where you are right now, because chances are your new job isn't going to arrive tomorrow. So I was working with this woman who was a divorce lawyer, and she was desperate to leave the law, desperate, didn't want to think about anything else. And while we were working together, we looked at some of her work habits. She was working till 10 o'clock at night. Her boss would drop things on her desk. She would rush to finish them before she went home. So while we were working together, started to ask her boss, when do you need this? Is it urgent? Could I do it by Friday? And it turned out that would have been fine with him the whole time.
Yes, yes,
The problem was coming from the inside. And if we hadn't discovered that, she would have taken this people pleasing personality with her to the next job and been just as stressed out. Instead, she changed the way that she was doing things, started drawing some boundaries around her life for this job. Her boss was fine with it. She started to love the law again, and it completely transformed her life, even though she stayed at the same firm and is doing the same work. She's gotten several promotions and raises since we did this work together, which proves that you can reduce your work hours without losing your job, which people always think is going to immediately happen when they draw a single boundary. So she didn't have to leave the law. She didn't have to leave her job. What happened was she made a ton of assumptions. She never asked any questions, and she suffered in silence for years.
Mm.
And
yes,
coaching brought her out of it.
yes, yes. Can I add to that? Because that is so powerful, Dina. It's as similar when you were talking about I'm a mindset coach. I'm a exercise coach. I'm a this coach. I don't even call myself a coach. I'm a reinvention expert, people. Okay. I help people change their lives. You're reinvented. Okay. Now, yes, I work with people over 50, women over 50 to find their purpose, but there are men too. The
Mhm.
women is my niche. Okay. And
Exactly.
I am thinking of one person that I work with. Wow, she was a CEO of a company. She was on top of her game. And then all of a sudden she realized, oh my goodness, money is not the problem. And I just had a divorce, and he was not really the problem either, but it was stifling. It wasn't working. She was going through all kinds of physical problems, trying to get a child, IVF, all kinds of stuff, right? I want to quit my job. It's a problem with, the company. And I'm looking now for another company, but it's a problem because I'm a woman and this is real man's world. And she had every excuse in the book to somehow just take a break. But breaks were no problem. Very often she just decided to just go away, and she'd go in a retreat for 2 weeks and come back. Money was not a problem. And a problem still came, right? It comes in your head. And when we worked on all kinds of other issues, and like you were saying, Dina, these were problems with herself. We didn't have to really get in there, but she was overworked. She was a people pleaser. She was doing too much for everybody else. And yes, she decided to change jobs. She took a break from where she was. Now she's in a totally other company. She loves her job. And guess what? She's still a woman in a man's world. And she is fine with that. It takes coaching. Now, did she come for changing her job? No. She came to me because I am miserable and literally I need reinvention. I need to change my life. Okay. Something is wrong. And when I say discover your purpose, yes, her purpose is the work that she does. She loves the work that she does. Her purpose is helping people. And as a CEO of a company, she works with them as well as the company. And so if you're using your talents, if you are who you are, then you feel good about who you are. And guess what? Relationships happen. You do not feel needy. You're okay with yourself, and you get what you want because you know that law of attraction, which is so simplistic, it's really true. So, that's what a coach can do for you. It opens up your eyes. And all coaches, wherever it's a niche, it doesn't mean that it's exclusive. So if you like what the coach is doing, I know I always offer a free 15-minute consultation. It's right on my profile. Anybody can sign up. And you don't have to follow through with me, but I always give free advice. And yes, it's only about helping people, moving them in the right direction, and check out coaches because there's there for each and every one of us. There's always somebody that's there to help you.
Well, that's so uplifting and hopeful. Let me cover the people real quick before we end the hour. Did you? Well, yeah, I took my first day off in a year. Went to see my grandkids play soccer, which was all worth it. Gary says, when I go to the grocery store, I try and get some comedy to clerk stocking. Sometimes I got to laugh and other times not. At least I got them to have a better day. So true.
Yeah.
Even professional comedians flop once in a while.
Well, that's what the fun of the next day is always starting with a fresh day and learning.
Carrie sends me a coach. Carrie sends me a joke a day, Dawn. I just have to tell you,
that's
Carrie.
awesome.
Carrie, well, I don't know where you get them.
Well, and Dennis is always here with his rhyming. Petra says, coaching must have the art of positivity, encouragement, and teaching anyone. Unteach negative words. Sheaf comes back with a good coach can change a game. A great coach can change a life. So well said.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean, the Chief is unbelievable. One team member came to me, told me that he had failed. I jumped up and told him, you have not failed. You have a learning experience. And I think it's all perspective, and how fast you get up, not how many times you get knocked down. I believe that coaching brings the heart closer to the mind. Dennis says we all should know what to do step by step to get better and a head that is better. So true, Dennis. Dennis says break through and get a mirror inventory to reflect upon yourself. Petra's happy wife, happy life. Dennis comes back. Yeah, believe it. Agree. Get out of their way, but don't weigh too much. Remember, tread lightly. Petra is grateful to have as many good friends as possible. Thank all of you for connecting with me. So welcome. Petra's just an unbelievable lady. Had a great talk with her about a week ago. Best track is attractive. Petra comes back, lucky her. She ended her day early as an attorney and being in that legal realm, my goodness.
Yeah.
Working
Yeah.
together was firm advance. She
Yeah.
says, coaches help prioritize versus generalize. Very true. Rhonda, reinvention coach. Love that. Omar's here. Omar's a great guy. Going to be talking with him soon. Hello, guys. Happy Tuesday. Dennis is a successful woman in a man's world as well, man. I don't know. When I is replaced with we, even illness becomes wellness. People power, power of people. Natalie's here. Natalie's just wonderful. I was listening from my car, so unable to
Hi,
comment
Natalie.
back
Hey,
home.
Natalie.
I do believe in the power of coaching. And Petra comes up, oh no, I couldn't laugh this long. So coming towards the end of the show, I look at coaching as just such a unbelievably valuable experience for everybody involved when it's done properly. And I think it is really finding the right person for the right situation and getting to know people first before you get to let them get to know you. And it's a two-way street. If you're being coached, you have to have some respect and consideration for the coach. I mean, because they need feedback to make them want to be more creative. People who like and trust people go out of their way to think about those people. When people are looking at their clocks thinking, boy, I can't wait for this 10 minutes to go by, you know, and it happens. People are people. And no matter how much you want to be professional, you still have personal feelings. But I think that's another element of coaching is always make it about it and not you, right? If you're working on the direction or the goal or with the person, don't reflect on yourself every minute to see how this makes you feel. It's like, are we moving the needle here? Are we going in the right direction? And really, a coach has to be just as communicable to everybody else to ask, well, what did you do? I saw you didn't react to that too well. What was that about that triggered something, or it looks like a sensitivity got brought up, and I think part of it is really just polishing what someone has left to kind of get dusty, is like, hey, let's pick that up and take a look at this. There could be some real value here. Whatever it is, if everybody's looking, thinking, and really kind of in a higher level of awareness, and making people understand that you should celebrate your successes. If you do have homework or experiences that you need to take to happen till the next meeting, wouldn't it be great if, hey, we agreed on this and I did twice as many of that, right? And then I think a coach should be, how do we celebrate that? How do we take time to really focus on that, because it's important? And people only know what you tell them, and you only tell them what you want them to know. I know it sounds so simple, but a lot of times people overdo it, right? They could have stopped there, and then they go into this thing about something, and all of a sudden they lost a moment, they lost the thing, because they got caught up in something that wasn't as directed and relevant. I think the coach has to keep things between the lines too, right? When it starts drifting or whatever. So with just a minute or two left, Dina, first experience on the show. What's your takeaway now, and your thoughts on coaching?
I usually ask clients at the end of a session, what value did you get from this? And I can tell you, I got great value from being with the two of you today. It was a wonderful experience for me. And I hope anybody that I'm not connected with will connect with me. I'm Dina Lefkowitz on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of Dina's. So you don't know her and you know me. Hopefully you'll get to know her better.
And now I am too. Now I am too. And I'm going to connect with you, Dina. This is a pleasure meeting you. My last comments. Wow. Okay. First of all, it was always a pleasure, Dawn, being on the show. And with Dina, it was wonderful. But primarily for all of you, if you're struggling in any way, there are coaches out there. There are people out there that can help you. And sometimes just your pastor or someone in your community can direct you to where you have to go. You don't have to always go to a professional. Listen, also, I'm going to just add too, I have a podcast called Aging with Purpose and Passion. That can be inspirational too. I'm going to put the links out there. It's every little thing you're listening to, or self-help books, or anything that raises your spirit. Do it, do it, do it. And help is always out there. And I just say, don't be shy. Go for it. And you can always also call me for a free 15 minutes, or anyone else too. Really, we're all out there. And thank you, Dawn, for this book.
Well, thank you. And I applaud both Dina and Beverly. And I encourage everybody to share their links to how people can get to know them better, that this is just a sample. And if someone needed a full course, or at least an opportunity to talk one-on-one, just to be able to see if there is alignment, right? Because what I believe is when circles combine, each circle gets bigger by combining,
I love
right?
that.
And
I love that.
what's fascinating about LinkedIn, I'm so amazed that I find people who are got the same amount of connections, same industry, same everything, and there's only 10% overlap in our connections. So if you have 30 and I have 30, we both can pick up 27,000 more people who have awareness of someone. Because I think, to everybody's point, the more options you have, the better everybody is. If you know 5 coaches already by experience, because there's a saying that says, be known before you're needed, and if you can get yourself out there for who you are, what you are, why you are, before there's a need for you, then you're already at top of mind awareness. That's where everybody wants to move to. So, and hopefully we can all help each other. And I'm now focusing primarily on onboarding people onto their own LinkedIn Live show and sharing best practices, because I agree, just like Dina's doing and Beverly, niches are riches. Right? And that's the way you can distinguish and differentiate yourself, is because I just do this and there's plenty of it for me to do, versus I can cook anything up, I can help anybody, and you're everybody to nobody in a way. So with that, that thought, hopefully this is the beginning of more conversations with Dina, with Beverly, with each other. So thank you all so much. You made this hour so much better than it would have been without you. Come back tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to have Leslie Flowers.
Oh, she's great.
And Catherine Chadwick. So that's going to be a great show. Catherine's here every week. Leslie's here all the time. And Leslie's just great. So, and Kelly's Thursday, I can just keep going on and on. So with that, everybody come back in 23 hours and we'll talk some more. Thank you so much, Dina.